had my Mac Studio for a week now, and along with an overview, benchmarks and first impressions, I want to find out whether this could replace an aging iMac 5K from 2015, specifically with photo editing in mind and an issue that many people seem to be coming across when buying a Mac Studio. As you can see and expect with every Apple product, it is beautifully boxed, packaged and designed. This is an M1 Max version with a 24-core GPU, and looking at the front we have two USB-C ports which provide up to 10 gigabits of bandwidth. The M1 Ultra has two Thunderbolt 4 ports for up to 40 gigabits. We have an SD card slot which supports UHS 2 along with a small LED power indicator on the right hand side. So looking at the back of the Mac Studio, we have four Thunderbolt 4 ports, a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, a 3-pin power supply, two USB-A ports, HDMI 2.0, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and last we have a power button. Just a quick one on the Mac Studio fan noise. A lot of people say it's silent. It's not silent, it's quiet. You can hear it 2 or 3 feet away. I ran multiple tests simultaneously and I could not get the fans to move up from their idle position, so it's quiet. So first test is startup. So this is from complete shutdown all the way to the login screen. Not a massive difference, 14 seconds against 24. Not going to be a major point for most people, because I suspect most people leave their iMac on sleep. SSD Speeds is, for the Mac Studio, 5,425 megabytes a second. For the iMac it's 1,877 megabytes a second. Write speed drops a bit, 4,624 for the Mac Studio and 1,187 for the iMac 5K. Cinebench single core, we have 1,531 for the Mac Studio and 1,049 for the iMac 5K. It's about 50%. Multi-core 12,231 for the Mac Studio and 5,344 for the iMac, which is about 60% increase. Geekbench 5, pretty much the same as Cinebench. For the CPU we have 1,790 for the Mac Studio and 1,031 for the iMac 5K. It's about a 65-70% increase. And for the multi-core we have 12,615 for the Mac Studio as against 4,330 for the iMac 5K. Geekbench 5 GPU metal, we have 60,798 for the Mac Studio as against 32,964 for the iMac 5K. Just under twice as fast. For the OpenCL we have 53,318 for the Mac Studio and 28,729 for the iMac 5K. So you're looking around about twice as fast. Right, enough of the benchmarks. Let's get into some real world tests. And Capture One 22 Pro. We have 100 raw 61 megapixel photos from an A7R4 being imported, and the time for the Mac Studio was 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Now this was generating previews at 5,120, and the iMac 5K, exactly the same, took 3 minutes and 44 seconds. So just a quick one. Once the 100 photos were imported and all the previews were generated, I did a auto adjust on both machines, and it took the Mac Studio 48 seconds to auto adjust every photo, and it took the iMac 5K 1 minute 29 seconds. Moving on to the export, 100 raw 61 megapixel photos from the A7R4. These were exported at 100% quality JPEG and with the adjustments applied that we did in the previous test. The Mac Studio took 2 minutes 30 seconds. The iMac 5K took 6 minutes and 14 seconds, so over twice as fast. Moving on to Topaz DeNoise version 3.62. Now I've selected just 20 raw 61 megapixel images for this. Applied the same settings to both machines, and the Mac Studio completed the export in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. The iMac completed it in 13 minutes and 4 seconds. Quite a difference. I believe the iMac was throttling quite bad. It was, it's hitting temps of 95 plus. The Mac Studio around about 55, 60. Ambient temperature was about 25 degrees. So overall pretty good. Never heard the fans on the Mac Studio, and I don't even think they increased in speed. Sony A7R4 Pixel Shift with the Sony image editing software. So the Mac Studio completed a Pixel Shift in 49 seconds. The iMac actually was ahead to about 30%. But it got very badly throttled and it soon slowed down. Once it got to about 30, the temps were 9500 and that took 1 minute 27. So the Mac Studio about twice as fast nearly. Moving on to Lightroom Classic, same 100 raw photos from an A7R4 61 megapixel. This is the export. And the Mac Studio took 1 minute 14 seconds to export the photos. The iMac 5K took 5 minutes and 10 seconds. So quite a big difference on that one. The last test was Final Cut Pro. I thought I'd throw this one in just to show the massive power difference on the graphics side. So this was a 10-minute video shot on an iPhone 12 Pro Max, Dolby Vision 4K 60 frames a second. This was imported straight into Final Cut. Nothing was done to it, not touched at all, and then it was exported straight back out. The Mac Studio did it in 6 minutes 19 seconds. Average temperature was around about 55 degrees. The iMac 5K, well, that did 2% in 7 minutes. Temperature was off the scale, 9500 throttling. Yeah, if you have one of them, it's terrible for video editing. So that does demonstrate the power of the Mac Studio and the efficiency. So to summarise Mac Studio, amazing performance. It's quiet, not silent, quiet. It will tear through any photography that you want to throw at it, and it will handle video editing if that's something that you would get into as well. Personally, probably a bit overkill for photography. I'd probably say an M1 Mac Mini, and then spend the rest on a decent monitor is probably the best way. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, comment on what you want to see, what you want me to test. Got plenty more on the way, and I also have a MacBook Air M2 en route.